of the House Committee on Information. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Let's begin with him, and we get the other side in the course of the program. Honorable Kalu, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program. I also have Mr. Francis Indimkoa, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the Citizens Quest for Truth Initiatives. We will be speaking from the point of view of the NDDC, perhaps in the defense of their action today. Let me begin with Honorable Kalu. Honorable, does the action of the IMC today, does it mean that that's the end of that probe panel? Because when they pick hole in the integrity of the chairman and the leadership of that probe panel, what does this mean?
Thank you very much. Let me correct that I'm not the chairman information. I'm chairman media and public affairs and the official spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Yes, viewers, thank you for tuning in. Your question as to whether that is the end of the hearing, no. When they left, we continued and ran a full section of the investigative hearing, and it will continue tomorrow. It was supposed to be for 2 days, but it's going to go for 3 days. As you know, you mentioned something about integrity. They casted aspersion on the integrity of the chairman. That wasn't what they actually did. They are trying to hide something. It's very obvious to Nigerians that when a platform is given to you to enjoy fair hearing, and a man you are accusing has asked you 90 days ago to report him to the police, the DSS and all the security agencies, if you have anything against him,
Honorable,
ask you to report
apologies
him to
to Botin, Honorable.
Sorry,
I will allow you to continue. Let's take this break, and when we come back, we'll talk more. Stay with us, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation on the controversies over the NDDC and what happened today at the National Assembly when the NDDC IMC took a walk out of that investigative panel probe. In our Abuja studio is the honorable member who is the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Honorable Ben Kalu. And with him there is Mr. Francis Idimkoa, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the Citizens Quest for Truth Initiatives. His position is on the side of the NDDC. Honorable, apologies for cutting you short before we went on that break. But if you may clarify quickly for Nigerians, because the big question is the fact that how do you hope that this will continue, except if you think perhaps that you're going to do this without the IMC, who says they cannot stand in front of your committee when the chairman is presiding?
Thank you, Sharon. We have a constitutional mandate in the job that we are doing. And at all times, in serving Nigerians, we make sure we remain within the parameters of the Constitutional Commission, the constitutional mandate, from Section 4 to 88, 89. And I want to refer Nigerians to the provision of Section 60. Section 60 of our Constitution says that the powers that the House and the Senate shall have the power to regulate their own proceedings, which means when we sit, we determine how the sitting goes. You don't walk in and tell us, this camera should not be there, this man should not sit in this meeting. If you remember, it happened in the 7th Assembly, when my sister, Arumote, from my constituency, who was in charge of SEC, appeared before one of our members, and what she did was to accuse him of, being implicated in corruption with regards to SEC. What did he do? The chairman of the committee said, the security agencies, you are here. I'm submitting myself to you. If there's any allegation against me, please be kind enough to investigate me. And she did not leave the meeting. She did not leave the hearing. The hearing continued because the chairman hit the gavel and said, this constitutional mandate responsibility must continue. I tried to draw the attention of the chairman of the IMC, I personally I raised a point of order to address him, with regards to the provision of Section 60. I reminded him that we regulate ourselves. You don't tell us the chairman is not supposed to sit there. We have a vote of confidence on the chairman. You don't cast aspersion on him when we have committees of the House that handles issues that he was referring to. Committees like ethics and privileges.
Let me quickly jump and get Mr. Francis Nkoha to give us a sense of why the IMC took a walk. Why would they take a walk? Does it mean that they're never going to appear? Or what is the stance of the IMC in this matter?
Thank you, Shehu. First, I want to clarify the fact that I am not a member of the IMC, so I do not hold brief for the IMC. But to answer your question, you find out that even in the normal judiciary setting, if an accused feels he cannot get justice from a judge, he says so. And the natural course of action is for the judge to recuse himself from that hearing. That's the right thing to do. Now, the truth is that there is nothing stopping the chairman of that committee, Honorable Tunji Ojo Olubumi, to step aside for his deputy. In fact, not just like the Senate did due diligence by setting up an ad hoc committee to sit on this matter. We were at the Senate last week. We were there. We made our own presentation. Now, coming here, the IMC haven't raised the objection. Currently, with what is happening in the country, somebody raised an allegation against a member of the Federal Executive Council, and in fact, across the country, people are already calling for his head. Nobody has asked, is it true? Nobody has been able to, in fact, nobody has cared to substantiate that claim. Now, at this point now, what the House is doing is to say, this probe will continue. Meanwhile, you can go and report us. It negates natural justice. If someone you are accusing already feels he will not get justice from you, it means that the time he is spending before you is to his own, conscience, effort in futility. That's what I feel that made the IMC to walk away. And I'm sure if you were in their shoes, you would do just the same. You see, there was enough time for the House to do the needful. There was sitting on Tuesday. The House had the opportunity to listen to Nigerians who voted them in, to do justice, to make laws that will better this country. But they feel that once we have elected them, they assert the authority and tell us how things are going to be done. Nobody is taking away their right from them. We elected them to represent us. And when matters like this arise, if the IMC feels that the chairman himself is already an interested party in the matter, it's natural for the chairman to step aside. That's what was expected. It didn't happen.
Okay. So let's, Honorable Kalu, what is the immediate reaction or action of the House? Is it true that the House has ordered the arrest of the MD of the IMC of the NDDC?
Like I said, the House regulates its proceedings. Walking into the House and telling us Mr. A, Mr. B is implicated is not sufficient. You had enough time. This has been going on. Notification for this particular hearing have gone out for over 1 month now. You had enough time to write to the committee. You had enough time to write to the rules, ethics and privileges. You did not write. You had enough time to report to the security agencies. You did not do that. You had enough time to write to the leadership of the House. You did not do that. You cannot come in the course of a proceeding that we have set up and then determine for us who should sit and who should not sit. Section of the Constitution I just mentioned, Section 60, is very clear on that. Now, having said that, to your question, what is the next step? The position of the law is clear with regard to Section 89, Sub 1, Paragraph B and C. We have raised a motion saying this that took place was not supposed to take place, and we are invoking Section 89 of the Constitution, which gives us the power to arrest. And it is clear, if you give excuse, the law there says, let me read it to Nigerians so that you can see what the law says. The law says, issue a warrant to compel the attendance of any person who, after having been summoned to attend, fails, refuses, or neglects to do so, and does not excuse such failure. Refusal or neglect to the satisfaction of the House or the committee in question. So if you give excuses like he's giving excuses now, and it is not to the satisfaction of the House or the committee, we will go ahead with the warrant of arrest. And let me go ahead to say what the Constitution said, and order him to pay all costs which may have been occasioned in compelling his attendance, and also refusal or neglect to obey someone, and also to impose such fine as may be prescribed for any of such failure, refusal or neglect or fine so imposed shall be recoverable in the same manner as a fine before a court of law.
So what you have done is that you have ordered for the arrest of Professor Ponde. Is that what you have done, Honorable? You have asked the police to arrest him.
I didn't hear that.
You have asked the police to arrest him, and
the law is very clear with regards to how the arrest could be done. Let me read it for you.
No, Honorable, because we don't have the time, let me allow Mr. Francis to respond to the action of the National Assembly. So what do you think can happen with this, Mr. Ndokoa? With the warrant of arrest on the IMC?
You may wish to come again.
Representative.
I said, what do you think would happen now, since there's a warrant of arrest on him?
Well, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as he has cited, is clear on that. I don't believe anybody would want to walk into, the course of law, unless there is probably going by the press statement released from the presidency this evening, if there is maybe an intervention from somewhere. But I want to make one point clear. Now, you see, in the course of this NDDC imbroglio, you know that since the House constitutes, as it were, they are both lawmakers and also in this invoking the law to also by themselves compel a force of action. Now you see that if they decide by themselves and also enforce by themselves, you know that if the chairman could not recuse himself from that committee, nothing actually stops the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs to on their own decide to institute a probe to look into what has happened.
So, Mr. Ndokoa, we're out of time. We're out of time. But Honorable Kalu, we have just 10 seconds to close this show. Honorable Kalu, just in 10 seconds, where do we go from here? 10 seconds, please.
Where we go from here is that Section 88 and 89 of the Constitution, which mandated us to oversight the agencies of government, nothing is stopping us from going ahead with it. And we are going to arrest. This is the time to let Nigerians know the strength of the legislative arm of government. The sovereignty of the legislative arm have been tested. And we are going to show Nigerians what the Constitution has mandated us to do. And this is the time to see who will go against the Constitution.
So we're out of time, Honorable Ben Kalu and Mr. Francis Ndokoa. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. And that's our show for tonight.